Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I wanted to make a little bit of a different video. I know I said I was going to just jump straight into teaching tutorials on how to build different things, but I was recently reminded that a lot of the times when I talk about different things in the augmented and virtual reality world, there are a lot of people that don't understand what I'm talking about. I throw around a lot of like technical terms and I just want to make sure that before we start learning about how to build these types of experiences, we kind of do a good job of defining what those types of experiences are. So, yeah, I just want to jump in and kind of talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, and kind of some of the other terms that are used in this space, and talk about kind of the whole spectrum of what these types of experiences can be. So, yeah, I have a little PowerPoint prepared here. Let me swap over to that. And I know it's kind of low tech, but it does a really good job of showing off exactly what I'm talking about. So, yeah, today we're going to talk about AR, VR, XR, MR, and what it all means. Um, so, to really understand that all these terms, we have to talk about the reality-virtuality continuum. That's really difficult to say. I've messed it up so many times trying to record this video, but yeah, it's very important to understand that continuum. We have reality and the real environment that we're in, and that kind of pivots into different types of digital realities as we transition from augmented reality to augmented virtuality, which is something that I have learned a lot about over the last couple weeks as I've been studying for this, and then virtual reality. And they all exist on the same kind of plane or, I guess, continuum of this reality virtuality. But each one of them is a little bit different. So I'm going to kind of talk about each one of these. Um, of course, we start with real reality, and that's where we live in our day-to-days. It's just what is in front of us without any digital overlays, digital content on top of it. Everybody should know what that is. If not, then please get outside and touch some grass, because real reality is awesome and it's magnificent, and it's great and perfect as it is right now, but we oftentimes begin wanting to overlay digital content on top of that. And that takes us into this next field of this continuum, which is augmented reality. Augmented reality is where I live a lot. That's what I work in a lot. It's when we take real reality and overlay digital content on top of it. So, in this kind of slide here, I have three examples of that. The top left is a face tracked augmented reality experience. That's very common in like social media. On the right, we have something that's called an image target augmented reality experience, where we're tracking to packaging or to some type of physical good. We're looking for that good using the camera, and we're able to overlay content on top of it. And then we have world tracked augmented reality, which takes the physical world that's in front of us and overlays content on top of it using acres that are positioned in 3D space. On this example here, I'm using three different versions of mobile phone augmented reality, but you can actually buy augmented reality headsets as well. Those headsets are the Microsoft HoloLens and the Magic Leap 2 are kind of the two most popular, but they're very expensive. And there's not a lot that you can do with them in all honesty. Kind of the limitation of the technology, you have a transparent lens and you're overlaying different colors of light on top of those transparent lenses, and then it's overlaying that 3D content on the world in front of you using LiDAR, which is kind of a tool that we use to send out frequency, or I guess waves, and it refracts and bounces back off of physical objects, and then you're able to kind of tell where things are. That's kind of LiDAR. It's a very, very like bad explanation of it, but I mean, it basically just sends out signals and receives back signals that help us understand where things are in 3D space. So, yeah, you can use headsets that use LiDAR, but the technology just isn't quite there yet. And some of the limitations are like small field of view. And then if you have really, really bright environments, it's hard to see augmented reality content inside of a augmented reality headset. So that's kind of the pros and cons of augmented reality. Um, the next thing on our continuum is called augmented virtuality, which I've never actually seen in use before. We can look right here and see my computer, and then to get it into the augmented virtuality space, what we would have to do is crop out everything except for some specific elements, like my monitor and my keyboard, and then we would place those elements inside of a virtual space. So it's kind of the opposite of augmented reality. Instead of overlaying digital content on physical things, we're taking a couple of physical things and overlaying them in purely digital environments. Like I said, I've never really experienced augmented virtuality before. It's not really something that is commercially used a ton in things other than maybe, I guess the best example that I've experienced is if you're using the Oculus for office stuff, you can measure out where your keyboard is and you can kind of track your mouse and you can see those things in virtual reality. Um, so that is, I guess, a version of augmented virtuality, but even then, they're using 3D models a lot of the time, and it's not the actual physical thing that you're seeing inside of the virtual space. So it's kind of a niche thing, augmented virtuality, and I'm sure there will be some good use cases for it defined in the future, but we're not there yet with that technology. So, and then the next part of this continuum is probably the one that I would say most people are familiar with, um, especially if you're coming from like the gaming side of things, which would be virtual reality. It's kind of taken the world by storm over the last couple of years with the Meta Quest or Oculus Quest. If you're a little bit older in the industry, like I've been around, and I remember building for the Oculus Quest CV1, or sorry, the Oculus Rift CV1 back in the day. So, yeah, virtual reality is kind of eliminating the physical world altogether and putting the user inside of a purely virtual environment. And what we have now is kind of a cheaper version of virtual reality. We could get into a whole other conversation about that. We don't have full dive virtual reality yet, which consists of using things like haptic feedback suits, using things like neural plugins like Elon Musk is working on, basically ways to fully simulate and get all of your senses involved into a virtual environment. Right now, we just have kind of headsets that put your vision inside of a virtual environment, and then you have controllers that kind of let you feel some things. Some controllers are better at it than others, and it's very, very separate. We're hearing things, but then a lot of the times you're also hearing what's around you in the real world. We're not smelling things, we're not tasting things in virtual environments, so there's still a lot of senses that aren't involved in the current form of virtual reality, but there are a lot of good use cases for it still with what we have. Gaming obviously is one of them. All the pictures are on the slider from a game called Monkey Do, which is a lot of fun. You should check it out. But in this game, you're a monkey and you're swinging around and throwing poop at other monkeys, and that's not a situation that is realistic in reality. So virtual reality is really good for taking people and putting them in unrealistic situations where they would never be able to experience this thing except for in a virtual reality environment. So it's really fun and really cool. As well, we're able to do things like training for more corporate and more enterprise solutions. You can get in and teach people how to use different products and different equipment in virtual reality that might be more cost efficient for a company to do. Like if you're thinking about working at a factory and you have to train somebody on a giant piece of hardware, it's not really realistic for them to stop the machine, take it apart, and teach somebody how to use it in the middle of production time. A lot of those machines are going 24/7, and they lose a lot of money if they stop the machines and try and train people to use those machines during production time. So what we can do is we can take one of those machines and put it in virtual reality and kind of teach people how to use them and how to repair them and how to work on them in virtual reality so we don't have to stop production. That's just one commercial and enterprise use case for it, but it's really compelling and a lot of companies are finding value in it. people are starting to create training applications and different types of things using virtual reality, and it's saving them money in the long run. It might cost a little bit of upfront development, but it is very, very useful and can be used by companies for decades. Imagine instead of going to Subway and sitting there and being taught how to make a sandwich on the line while there are real customers there, you getting a VR headset, being given a virtual Subway that you can go in and work on, and then you can be trained exactly how corporate wants you trained. You can gamify the sandwich making experience to make it fun, make it like a Overcooked 2 or Cooking Mama type thing, and then get people trained on how to do things, but in a more like, I don't know, comfortable environment, and in an environment where there's not as much pressure, as well as making it actually something fun that is gamified in some way. So there's a lot of awesome opportunities in virtual reality training, and I'm excited to see where that industry continues to grow. But um, a couple more terms here on this continuum that I wanted to cover. We have mixed reality. Mixed reality is kind of the hybrid of augmented virtuality and augmented reality. We use mixed reality a lot nowadays. It's kind of become more of a buzzword with devices like the Meta Quest 3 and the Apple Vision Pro coming out. Those devices use augmented reality, but in a different sense. It might actually be closer to augmented virtuality in a way. But what is happening is we are taking a camera feed of the world in front of the device. We're overlaying it into a purely virtual reality environment. But because it's a camera feed of the real world, it kind of jumps into that augmented reality or mixed reality world. Um, so you're seeing everything around you like it's reality, but then you're overlaying content on top of it. And right now, that is a better solution and more affordable solution for some type of augmented reality device. It is more affordable. It's easier to develop for. It has better field of view. It has better quality of content you're able to produce for it. So that's a really, really good solution for now. And I just continue to see that industry and that part of our industry continuing to grow and develop. It's been fun to see what people have made using mixed reality devices like the Apple Vision Pro so far. And it's going to be fun to see where they take it in the future. And then the last thing we have on the continuum is the extended reality or XR. And that's just kind of the overarching umbrella term for everything in the industry. So anytime you talk about anything in the augmented or virtual reality or augmented virtuality industry, or overlaying digital content or interacting with digital content, that is kind of extended reality or XR. And yeah, I mean, hopefully, kind of all of this has helped cleared up some things. Let me swap back. Yeah, I really hope that I've been able to help you guys understand some of these terms a little bit better. If this type of content is helpful, please let me know. I really think there are a couple other things that we could dive into the industry, like why choose web XR over hardware or HMD or phone XR. What are the benefits to building something on the web instead of native to a device? And yeah, just different topics like that. And I would love to talk about them. I have a lot of opinions and experience dealing with different things in this industry, and I'd love to kind of share some of the things that I've learned so that other people can, um, you know, be on the same page, but as well like avoid some of the pitfalls that I've fallen into since starting in the industry. So, yeah, thank you for listening all the way through if you have, and yeah, if this is helpful, please let me know. And if you have any other ideas for awesome like educational content like this, please let me know. I'd be happy to talk about it and happy to do some research. So thank you again and have a good one. Bye.